Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. You are not forgotten. I don't care what the world says. I don't care who stopped calling. I don't care how many people walked away when your hair turned gray or your hands began to wrinkle. You are not alone. You see, there's something the world doesn't understand about older women. You carry history in your bones, and heaven knows it. There are angels around you, not because you're weak, but because you're powerful. Because every tear you've cried, every prayer you whispered when nobody else was listening, was a signal to the divine. And now, being watched over, protected, elevated. So don't go anywhere, because I'm about to share 7 divine secrets the world won't tell you, but your soul already knows. These secrets explain why angels are drawn to you, why blessings still chase you, and why your story is far from over. Not by the heavens, not by the angels, not by the divine forces that saw you through every storm you didn't even talk about. You may feel overlooked in this world. They may not call you, they may not ask for your opinion like they used to, but don't let their silence fool you. There is a higher realm where your voice is still heard, your heart is still felt, and your wisdom, it's still sacred. You didn't get this far by luck. You didn't survive all that heartbreak, betrayal, sacrifice, and pressure by accident. You endured. And because you endured, because you stood when life tried to make you kneel, because you stayed quiet when you had every right to scream, you became valuable in the eyes of the divine. And let me tell you something, the world may forget, people may forget, but angels, they remember. They remember the night you sat alone in your room, crying silently into your pillow so nobody else would hear. They remember when you held your family together with your bare hands, working, cooking, praying, sacrificing, while your soul was crumbling inside. They remember when you were exhausted but you smiled anyway. When you were heartbroken but you gave love anyway. When you had nothing left to give, but you gave anyway. Angels don't watch how loud you are, they watch how strong you are when you're quiet. They watch what you carry in your spirit when the world isn't clapping. They pay attention to the woman who walks with grace after being bruised by life. You didn't ask for recognition, and that's exactly why you're recognized in heaven. Look, you see, wisdom doesn't shout. It whispers. And your life has become a whisper of truth, a silent sermon, a quiet testimony. You've become a living example of what it means to keep your dignity in a world that tries to strip it away. And that's why you're surrounded. That's why angels walk with you. It's not just because of your age, it's because of your experience, because of your discernment, because of your calm presence that can stop chaos in a room just by showing up. You don't need to say much. Your silence says everything. Your eyes carry stories, your voice carries peace, your steps carry strength. You are a reminder of what it means to survive with your spirit intact. The young ones may overlook you, thinking their strength comes from their speed. But you've learned that real strength comes from patience, from knowing when to speak and when to be still, from letting go without bitterness, from loving people who didn't know how to love you back. And every time you held your tongue when you could have told the truth that would destroy someone, every time you chose peace over pride, every time you poured into someone else even though you were empty, the heavens took notice. There's a special kind of wisdom that only comes from pain, from years, from endurance, from showing up when you didn't feel like it, from lifting others while you were still trying to lift yourself. And the world may not write stories about you. You may not have a title, or a trophy, or 1,000 followers. But in the divine realm, you are royalty. You're not just seen, you're honored. Because the truth is, you are walking wisdom. You are walking grace. And angels don't surround noise. They surround truth. They surround dignity. They surround the woman who has been through hell and still chooses to walk in light. You may not realize this, but your presence shifts atmospheres. People feel safer when you're in the room. They may not tell you, but they notice how you listen, how you understand without judgment, how you advise without ego. You became the voice that calms the storm, not just because you're older, but because you've been through storms and made peace with the rain. There's a divine reason you're still here. You weren't left behind, you were kept behind. Because the world still needs your fire. It still needs your quiet strength. It still needs your spiritual authority. You may not talk about angels, but trust me, they're talking about you. They're saying, there she is, the woman who never quit, the woman who prayed for others, even when she was in pain, the woman who stayed soft in a hard world, the woman who aged with grace and became more powerful with every passing year. That's you. And if nobody else tells you today, I will. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not finished. You are watched. You are respected. You are surrounded. And your wisdom, it's not fading, it's glowing. Because it came with a price and it's been paid in full. So walk with your head high. Not because of arrogance, but because heaven crowned you long before the world noticed you. And when you feel alone, remember this. You're never really alone. You're just walking with angels others can't see. You didn't just get older, you got wiser. You didn't just live through the years, you grew through them. And with every year that passed, something sacred began to shift around you. The world kept looking at your age, counting the candles on your cake, but the divine was counting something far more powerful. Your understanding, your resilience, your evolution. There is a reason why you walk differently now, why your silence has more weight than someone else's shouting, why when you speak, people lean in. Because over the years, while others were chasing attention, you were chasing truth. While others were seeking applause, you were seeking peace. And in that pursuit, you unlock something heavenly. There's a power in the spirit of a woman who has been through everything and still chooses to walk in love. That kind of power cannot be taught. It's earned. It's revealed in time. And as you grow older, the blessings you receive don't come in the form of things. They come in the form of clarity, peace, discernment, and the right kind of protection. The world may not talk about this much, but let me break it down for you. There are certain battles you no longer have to fight, certain rooms you no longer have to enter, certain conversations you no longer have to explain yourself in. Why? Because as you step deeper into your divine season, angels began to go before you. They started clearing paths, redirecting danger, silencing those who tried to slander you, and elevating your name in spaces you hadn't even walked into yet. That's not luck, that's spiritual favor. You stopped chasing people who never saw your worth. You stopped trying to convince anyone of your value. You stopped overgiving. You stopped entertaining nonsense. And that right there, that's when the divine took the wheel. Because when a woman finally understands who she is, heaven moves. You walk lighter now, not because life got easier, but because you finally laid down the weights that weren't yours to carry. You stopped over-explaining. You stopped apologizing for your boundaries. You started seeing rejection as redirection. That's growth. And that growth, it created a glow around you that no one can deny. That's why some people fell away, not because they were bad, but because they couldn't handle the new you, the stronger you, the clearer you, the version of you that doesn't beg, doesn't break, doesn't settle anymore. When you were younger, you might have mistaken chaos for passion. You might have thought pleasing others was the price for love. But now you know the truth. Love doesn't require suffering. Loyalty doesn't require silence. And your peace, that's not up for negotiation anymore. You walk into a room now with something rare, an energy that's been refined. And yes, people feel it. They don't always know what it is. Some admire it, some fear it, and some don't understand it. But all of them respect it in ways they can't put into words. You don't have to prove anything anymore, and that's the blessing. You've done the work. You've faced yourself in the mirror. You've sat with your brokenness, held it in your hands and turned it into beauty. And now, you carry a presence that commands peace and deflects foolishness. That's what divine aging looks like. It's not about wrinkles on the skin. It's about wisdom in the eyes. It's about grace in your step, patience in your words, and strength in your silence. You used to try to be everything for everyone. Now you've learned to just be whole for yourself. That shift, that's spiritual. That's not something the world teaches you. That's something God places in you. And when you reach that place where you're no longer looking outside for validation, but walking fully in who you are, that's when the blessings shift too. People start coming to you for guidance, not gossip. You become a magnet for purpose. You stop attracting drama and start attracting peace. Your presence becomes medicine because you've become someone whose life is no longer ruled by noise, but by stillness. Not because you gave up, but because you grew up. And let me tell you, there are women out there watching you right now, young women, lost women, tired women, and they don't even realize it yet, but they're learning from you, from your posture, from your patience, from how you move when nobody is watching. They're not inspired by your perfection. They're inspired by your survival, by the way you kept showing up, by the way you speak truth without bitterness, by the way you carry your years with pride and not apology. So don't ever feel like your time has passed. No, your time has just evolved. You're not in the season of proving anymore. You're in the season of pouring. And the divine will continue to bless you, not just because of what you do, but because of who you've become. You are not an afterthought. You are a blueprint. You are not in the background. You are the foundation. And the more you walk in that truth, the more the divine surrounds you with angels, with favor, with protection that no eye can see and no enemy can touch. So walk forward, not as someone trying to hold on to yesterday, but as someone who is finally stepping into the fullness of everything you were always meant to be. There comes a point in a woman's life when the noise fades, the chaos settles, and she starts hearing something else, something deeper, something higher. It's not the voice of fear, not the voice of doubt. It's the voice of clarity, the voice of discernment, the voice that says, that's not for you. Walk away. And when you start listening to that voice, when you start second guessing that gut feeling, that's when the divine begins to move on your behalf in ways you never imagined. Discernment isn't just a spiritual gift, it's a spiritual shield. It's what protects you when people smile in your face but carry hidden agendas. It's what pulls you out of relationships that look good on the outside but rot your soul on the inside. It's what whispers to you, this opportunity isn't aligned with your purpose, even when everyone else says take it. When you get older, that gift becomes sharper. Why? Because life has taught you what your spirit already knew. You've seen what it's like to ignore your intuition, and you've paid the price. You've welcomed the wrong people, trusted the wrong energy, stayed too long in places that drained you, and now you know better. Discernment is divine wisdom wrapped in stillness. It's what allows you to hear beyond words and see beyond appearances. And when you've been broken, betrayed, and bruised, but still come out wiser, not bitter, that's not luck. That's because your spirit has been refined. And with that refinement comes clarity. When a wrong presence enters the room, you feel it before a word is spoken. When someone's spirit is not aligned with yours, you can sense it in their silence, in their energy, in the way they avoid eye contact or force a smile. That's discernment. And it's not just a blessing, it's a necessity. Because not everyone clapping for you is cheering for you. Not everyone who says, "I love you" means "I'll protect you." And not everyone who stays in your life is meant to grow with you. That's a hard truth, but it's the kind of truth that sets you free once you accept it. And when you do, something powerful happens. Your spirit stops tolerating what your heart used to make excuses for. You no longer feel guilty for creating distance. You no longer explain why you're quiet around certain people. You don't need proof to trust your peace, you just know. And you honor that knowing, because there is a sacred responsibility that comes with being an older woman walking in discernment. You're no longer reacting, you're responding. You're no longer chasing, you're attracting. You don't fight battles that aren't yours. You don't argue with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And you don't entertain chaos just to feel relevant. A younger version of you might have given chance after chance, might have ignored the red flags, might have said, "Maybe it's me," but not now, not anymore, because now you understand. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's survival. Honoring your intuition is not prideful, it's prophetic. And when you live like that, the blessings that flow to you are different. They're not loud. They're not flashy. They're not for show. They're quiet, strong, lasting. You attract real friendships, real conversations, real love. You stop settling for almost, and sometimes, because now you know that you are worthy of always. You are worthy of more. Discernment also teaches you when to be still. Not every situation needs a reaction. Not every insult needs a clap back. Not every door needs to be forced open. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remain silent and let the divine handle what you cannot. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. And hear me. You're not crazy for walking away from people who never harmed you out loud, but kept draining you with their passive silence. You're not cruel for distancing yourself from those who always made you question your worth. You're simply finally aligned with your purpose, aligned with your future, aligned with the woman you were always meant to be. When you carry discernment, you carry authority. You're no longer tossed by emotions or manipulated by guilt.